no weapon formed against. Jesus was the baddest man that ever walked on earth. Listen to the words of Christ. He said, I am he who opens the door that no man can shut. He said, I am he who closes the door that no man can open. That's a bad man. Wow.
In New York City, there's boroughs. Staten Island, Queens, Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan. But when I say Manhattan, I really mean Harlem. Harlem is Mecca. When people think of Harlem, they think of Apollo, 125th Street, Rutgers, but there's another side of Harlem, the underworld, where people do what they gotta do to survive. And this has been going on since Madame Mose brung the numbers to Harlem. The Bumpy Johnson, Nicky Barnes, Guy Fisher, those were some of the best who played the game of survival. But during the mid-'80s, there were 3 young men who took Harlem by storm, living by the code of the streets in pursuit of the American dream. Richard Porter, AZ, and Alpo.
Rich Porter getting, you understand what I'm saying? He lost, you understand what I'm saying? He like to gamble, he like to keep the fresh whips and all that.
2 vicious killers are in jail for life.
It's a whole different world.
The crap is fake. The niggas is fake. The police is fake. You know what I'm saying? All this shit is bullshit.
These 3 cats, they had that already. Niggas, they had that way back deep in the early 80s, B.
Who had that?
Come on, Poe, Rich, A, or whatever, whoever was rolling with them, and it was like that, I'm saying. All this new stuff is just happening right now. They had that established already at that early age.
So you saying they introduced that to the street?
That's right. Nobody knew about that. They was getting bills when they were 16, 17 years old. 6 or 7 cars.
AZ was a BB man. When I used to see them, I used to work in the shop. I used to install it for them. They used to come in, hit me over $100 bills a tip. That was my highlight. But again, we were the only place. And after that, you know, they created more businesses.
Everybody was getting money back then. Every block in Harlem, you know what I mean? It wasn't like one nigga was getting it, and 2, 3 niggas was getting it. The whole Harlem was getting it. It was like an economy. You know what I mean? Everybody knew who everybody was, and bottom line, that's how niggas was rolling.
It was rich enough. They was getting money. They were young guys, and they was getting money. And just the things that they had, and the cars that they had, and their style, you know, they was just doing the wild thing.
Back in the 80s, there was a gentleman, young fella called Junior, that used to come in here and buy cars. Junior, I haven't seen him in I don't know how long. And he used to come in here and buy cars for cash. Saw a car on the floor and he liked it and say, I'll take it, and come back a couple of days later, have the cash and buy the car. He had a couple of friends that used to hang around outside. I believe their name was, one was Rich and the other one was Alpo.
Hey Rich, another highlight. Went up to the Porsche dealer with about 70, 80 in the brown bag from the car dealer. Yo, let me get 2 joints, man. We're trying to get up out of here today.
I mean, I can recall one day going in the dealer with a magazine and shit, you know, and I wanted the car in the magazine. Fuck the cars that was on the floor. I go in there with the magazine, like, yo, I want this one in the magazine. Fuck that shit on the floor. And the year might have been 86, but I wanted the 88 joint, you know what I mean? Because we was playing on some hurt. We gotta hurt each other. We gotta what? Bust out with this, bust out with that. And you know, think futuristic and get some 88 shit on these niggas. And took the money in there, 50,000, yo, I want that joint right there. I got 50, man. I know that shit ain't gonna cost that much. If you can get it for me, whatever it is, you keep the difference. The dealer hearing that shit, he like, right. But he make a few phone calls and he get you the joint. Now you the first nigga in the USA with the brand new 735.
Niggas start buying their motherfucking cars. Niggas is blowing the fuck up. Niggas is having more than one girl. Niggas is going to get beepers, cell phones. It's crazy right now.
Hey, no, I'm telling them niggas went from selling half a gram to getting 80 keys. You know what I'm saying? 100 keys. These niggas was hitting half a holler, man.
Made me want to hustle. Made me want to get money. Being fucked up, being broke, you know? Mom's on welfare. Welfare couldn't feed us, couldn't get us what we needed. You know what I mean? Going to school fucked up, broke. You couldn't really pay attention to class, motherfuckers snapping, whatever. You wanted to have the best of things and shit. You know, packing bags, wasn't doing it. And I started working at the cleaners. And fucking with Rich. Rich was always in the game, doing little things to eat. Whatever it was, he kept himself with some money in his pocket. And holding things from like guns, drugs, and things like that. And the cleaners, and Mr. Jimmy, the cleaners owner, finding the guns and shit, firing me one day, and it's like let me out. I was fucked up.
AC was a different kind of me than that. You see, I was getting ready, at my age, I was damn near 60, I was getting ready to go back to jail again. You know what I mean? When I met up with AC, he was a very cool young guy, you know? He sniped me out, you know, because he had me over there doing a lot of card tricks, you know what I mean? And I could look at him like this, I would be mad because he was doing shit that I couldn't understand, you know what I mean? He was a real cool kid, you know? He was working in Jimmy's tailor shop. I used to watch him all the time. I used to like his style. He had a nice smile. He had everything going for him, you know? And I said, some we started talking. Then I got busted, got flagged off again. I was about 60, about what? First 58 or 60, then I'm getting flagged. I got flagged off then, you know? And when I come back, I didn't fucking around. I looked at him, I told him to be very careful in what he's doing in this game because it's a bad game if you ain't got the right people with you, you know? You don't have people with you that want money. You have people that want to be with you because y'all can get money together. Remember? And you got to remember this too in this game, especially in the narcotic game. You take some and leave some. You can never take it all. And the richer you get, the more able they want to get you. The police want you. The guys get envious of you. Everybody like to get you. You get too much. And if you do get a lot, don't let them show you that you got nothing. If you're nice to who you can, stay downstairs, you survive.
Right, when we moved to 146th Street, that's where all of this like really started, him and his hustle. 12 is really where the drug game started coming in. You know, before that, it was packing bags at the local supermarket, getting there early, being persistent with coming, having the best, like learning and clocking how fast the cashier might go, to know that this is the line that the people gonna get on, to know that this is gonna be how of a heavy tip he gonna get, to know that throughout the week, you know, I'm sticking with her, she be moving these customers through. That means that the more customers that come through, the more tips I'ma get. That was a hustle. And he knew how to like master a hustle. He would go pack bags, earn tips, get money from packing bags when he was like 9, to on Sundays to go get newspapers. He'll go buy his newspapers, Go to this newsstand, 148th Street, St. Nicholas. Go to the newsstand, buy all his newspapers. Go to like the privately owned buildings on Convent.
It was beyond obvious that Richard Porter was destined for success from the age of 9 years old. At that early age, he understood the elements of capitalizing on the dollar.
When he couldn't reach over the counter. Richie, brother Darnell, Stanley, T. Money. It's sad because, the game is over. I want all these young kids to know that there's nothing out in these kids anymore.
Like I said, Poe was the type of cat, he wanted to shine. He had to be seen. Poe was the one, he wanted to be seen, and he always, had to do something. That was Poe, you know what I mean? I liked the Poe style as well, you know what I mean? Because he was like the daredevil cat, you know what I mean? You see Poe coming down 7, Willie, and, everybody know him for that. Like,
he would motorcycle, riding, up wheelies, blocks. I heard like he fell and he scraped himself. All I seen was the scrapes from his back, down his butt, his arms, just nasty. All the skin off. What's that little doom buggy, little things they used to drive? Just through the streets like it was fine.
Man, Poe paid the police off. They was chasing us in the Porsches. Coming down 7th. We banged the ill left on him and banged another left on him in the garage, but the garage was so small and so sharp. And the Porsches, we had them about 3 blocks. You understand what I'm saying? We had 2 Porsches in the gold 16 valve that Rich had. We was racing coming down 7th.
3 jumps.
Yeah. And they started chasing us from like 135th Street. So when we banged the left on 3-2, we banged the next left in the garage, jumped out the joints, ran up the stairs. They went past the garage. But then when they looked at Lennox, they must have said these cats couldn't have went that fast, so they backed up and seen the garage and came up in the garage. We all ran up the stairs. I couldn't run no more, so I started walking back down the stairs. I see the nigga Poe hitting the nigga off, took the cash. And that was the illest shit I ever seen. One of the illest things I ever seen. Yeah, because I ain't know 5-0 do that type.
So this could be why the rappers and stuff are rapping about him today?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe his style, like I said, the things that he did, whether they were good or bad, yeah, he gave himself a name. People will remember him. I don't care if it's for the worse or for the good, whatever. They're gonna remember him.
Whether for the good or the bad, Rich and Poe set trends that are so embedded in the streets that 11 years later their styles has been brought from the streets to the entertainment. For instance, the rap game. Some show love in their lyrics, and others try to live it. But the game will let you know, you gotta separate the streets from entertainment.
Don't have love for it. And then if we gonna take it to the era, wasn't none of them cats doing it like we was doing it, because when we was young, we had a garage with cars on every floor, and I'm talking about everything European, man.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
if I went to the garage to take the Benz and the Benz was going, I could take the Porsche. And if I went to get the Porsche and the Benz was going, I could take the 7.
Yeah.
And if that was going, I could take the wagon. And if there wasn't no cars there, I could take a dirt bike. So I don't know none of them cats. All of them is fake to me, man. You understand what I'm saying?
bricks and all that.
You know what killed me?
Shit is real, B.
A lot of these young cats, they be taking a lot of these rappers real serious nowadays, man. And you know, for real, not for nothing. I don't remember none of them cats, man. You know what I mean? I mean, for real, I'm saying I be hearing a lot of talk go on, you know what I mean, and about what they got and how much this costs and how much that costs and what this person got and what this person driving and I mean, I ain't seen nobody throw money in the air yet.
These rappers hold no weight. It's a different world from this world and the rap world, you know?
Bottom line.
Bottom line, man. Yeah. It's a whole different world. This is what's real right here, and that's what they talking about it. Real niggas don't talk about it like that on raps, you know?
The game sold, not told anyway.
Bottom line.
What really killed me the most is how they be like, well, I'm saying not nowadays, but how they used to just down the drug dealers this, drug dealers that. But now you got all the rappers, they acting like they want to be drug dealers, and then you got niggas that's drug dealers that just want to get out the game, and then you got these cats acting like they playing the game. And it's like, and then it's like they make it bad for people like us, cause it's like they make it seem like it's all right to live that life when it's like, but when it comes from us, it's basically we just trying to just let it be known that you can live that life, but this is what can happen if you live that life. So it's up to you, cause the ball is in your hand. Rap niggas is like, they're not really rappers no more. It's like, you know what I mean? They blending in on the street culture now. And they like taking hip hop from breakdancing and all that, putting it into, you know, crack buildings and bodies now. So it's like the realest rapper right now, I guess, is talking about crack and coke, huh?
But my thing is, if you ain't never been on the street and so on and so forth, let's look for the brother that talks about having so much, man. That's the ones that I'll be like, you know, he frontin'. Because if you got it, you ain't got to brag about it. And if you did it, you ain't got to talk about it, man. Word up, it's already etched in stone. The streets, man. Everybody know who did what. A lot of cats, you know, they want to take niggas' names, flip it, bounce it and shit, you know. Make records, Sugar Hill, never been in Harlem. Come on, shit is fake, man. It's fake, man. This whole game is motherfucking turning into WWF, man. Shit is like wrestling right now, man. Clowns in the ring, niggas diving off the turnbuckle, man. Trying to get a platinum fucking plaque, man. Shit is whack right now, man. That's why I do what I do, man. I be exposing niggas on my joints, man. And that's why niggas hate on me, man. If a nigga's fake, I expose them. I don't give a fuck, man.
Real niggas gonna respect this shit, you know, because it's real.
That's right, it's real.
A lot of niggas died because of this, you know. A lot of niggas imitating Rich, Poe, A. A lot of niggas.
A lot of niggas, you can't even say
it's
names.
So many, it's so many, it's ridiculous.
We ain't trying to say any of them niggas was the richest, but them niggas had the fame that went along with the game.
But people chasing the money don't really see what they doing, man. They're too busy about money, like the labels. They don't care what you rap about. Honestly, they don't. Because if they did, the shit that's out there that was out there before wouldn't have been out there. If they censored that shit from the start, like, I can't let you play this. They just stop it, but they say, yo, will it make money? That's how they talk. Yeah, it make money, so fuck it, say it. You know what I mean? But look what it's doing to the young ones that's looking up to it. It's poisoning them.
Y'all could rap about it. Y'all could rap about the fly shit Richard had, his cars. But it's like, let him know where that shit may lead. You know, my little brother was 12 years old, a regular little boy riding a little ET bike. And at 12, Richard chose to sell marijuana. My little brother Donnell at 12 was still riding bikes, going outside, Mommy, can I go out to play? So he was a regular little boy who was robbed of his life because of Richard's drug life.
What's going on, blood?
What's happening, brother? What's happening? What's happening, brother? What's happening?
I got something to say to the homeboys from around the way. What's going on? What's going wrong? Knocking each other off, word is wrong. Stop the violence, must live in peace and silence. I
come to solve the problem. What you talking about, eh? 132 Harlem. Torture for crack, 12-year-old kid kidnapped. What's going on, Black?
You know, when people are poor, they got to do something for some money.
Scarface was like a big commercial to sell cocaine. You know what I'm saying? It's like a hit, boom, and cocaine.
Movie industry has capitalized on this because for every major movie or drug movie or every movie that glorifies crime, okay, that just sends the message that, you know, this is the lifestyle, this is what you can do.
You know, movie plays a major role on the direction they're trying to send a thought and shit. And I happen to get caught up in that shit. Me and a whole bunch of others, I know for a fact, man. And I mean, people still look at Scarface to this day to get motivation to hustle.
When you tell kids that they can't become something, or, and I don't mean it directly, but indirectly, and you're saying to them, look, education is not going to be the same for you. Economic breaks, not going to be the same for you. And you know what? You know what else they turn to? They turn to something that's an alternative, and all too often the alternative is the guy with the Rolex on the street, with the fancy car, the women and everything else, and they know what he's doing, he's selling drugs. That's sad. Education is the answer for the drugs.
We always grew up around drugs, though, meaning me and my brother. You know what I'm saying? We knew what drugs was early on in the game. We knew what dope was, what dope fiends was. We knew what coke was, what coke heads was, what pot. We knew all of that just from the environment that we was placed in. Me and my brother, Richard, we knew A almost half our lives. I'm 33. More than half my life I've known A. And him and Richard was friends first. You know, he found out I was Rich's sister later on through the thing, but him and Rich they went to school together. Alcohol came along like further down when everything was, and everyone was already who they was, everybody was already established. He had a set plan. From packing the bags, that was like his first stage, to selling newspapers, which enables him to get more money, to like getting into like, now we talking like 12 years old, getting into marijuana, selling joints for like $1. You know, then finding out that the white niggas that comes by his joints like some shit called hash, and he had a trick up his sleeve for them, like, well, these niggas coming way in from Jersey. So what I'm gonna do now, this money looking good, but he ain't had access, I guess, to the hash like he had to the marijuana. He figures out a way, I don't know how, I can't even tell you. But I can tell you what he did. He mixed up the sage with the eggs, scrambled it together in a tin foil, put it in the oven, come out hard, block it off, cut it up, and the nigga think they got hash. For marijuana, he wanted like a low key of money. He wanted money to go be able to get him a pair of sneakers or some shit like that. Then once that started wearing out and started disinteresting him because it was easy for him to get that, he moved on to a higher game. When he first started selling coke, I think it was coke, in the little glassine bags and shit. He'll put like, I guess, a nickel worth or $10 worth in a glassine bag. And we had these stamps from school. And just out of just playing and stamping shit, like, you know, back in the days in school, you do your work, you get excellent, very good. It was a stamp much better. He put the stamp on a glassine bag and called his shit much better and put it out there and killed them with the coke. Later on, when he started really killing them with, like, got more expanded with coke and like started being like a distributor, like hitting niggas, hitting this nigga going to this block, whatever. I mean, this was back when I didn't know what now I know everybody carry beepers, but back then I didn't even know what a beeper was. For him to tell a worker, yo, I'm gonna get you a beeper, and when you finish, I'll give you my beeper number. You know we do business like this, or cell phones that back then looked retarded. I mean, I could say look retarded now because they're more advanced now, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, the shit back then, you look at that, how far back a nigga saying beat me in 1981, a nigga saying call my cell in 1981, that shit is crazy right now, but that was him. He went from each stage, each level. By his 16th birthday, Richard already had his first car. And you know how like today, somebody's first car might be a Toyota or a Honda or something like that, a Ford, or Richard's first car was a BMW. Before he reached 16, he had a BMW. That's how like advanced he was.
Poe and Rich bust out with them drop top BMs. It just was crazy. Rich had the black joint, Poe had the blue joint. Summertime, early, nice hot summer day, niggas coming through, funky beats blasting on their joints and all that. That shit was like, because nobody had no drop top BMs like back then in 87. They was like the first niggas out. So boom, they back to back coming through all shaking Harlem, all over Harlem, shaking shit with the drop top BMs. That shit was like looking like crazy to niggas. Niggas looking at them like they was stars, you know?
He joined another like local drug dealer, Ellison, who was an older nigga. And they joined forces together and started having like niggas work for them. Like there wasn't no more. He was pitching and doing what he had to do to get his money like hand in hand and like selling his own shit. He joined forces with another nigga probably to like, maybe they both had the same idea, the same dream or whatever, to go out and buy something and like get it big and all of that, and then to say like, they started having niggas work for them. They was out there selling drugs, like they had like a certain amount of niggas working for them. Then to say like, Ellison went to jail and Richard kept right on going, that ain't stopped no flow for him. He went and found another nigga like that, another young nigga out there getting money just as well. LA, but LA was from down here. So now I'm thinking that this shit is getting serious because he moving around now. It ain't just about being on the hill no more. It ain't just about being up on the hill getting money. Now you done merged with somebody and done took it to a different block, a different location, not on the hill, down the hill, and then LA ended up getting killed. Now the shit is serious. AZ started like how Richard was with he was the boy packing bags and working in the cleaners and then trying to figure out a bigger way to get more money because Richard and Ellison and them was on the hill doing things, you know, getting money, having like the silver name chains, then it went to gold medallions and mopeds, and this like they was like setting trends for where other young men in the same neighborhood and in the same age group was like, damn, what could I do to get some more money too? These niggas is doing it. They started killing them. All right, Ellison, I went to jail. Richard down the hill with LA. They selling they shit. I don't know whether it was dope. I think they was into dope. They started getting into dope then. But they was down the hill doing their thing. And here go AZ up on 146 in St. Nicholas doing his thing with the blowing up off of this new gimmick, was selling like, you'll get like a bundle of 10 and he'll sell them for $20, and Richard was like, oh, that nigga's up there getting money, to where Richard started hitting him. So he knew how much money A was getting by how much money A was bringing him every other so often, like every 2 days, like where he might have hit one nigga with however amount of drugs, and it might take a nigga a week, 2 weeks, or whatever. He was hitting A with the same shit, and A was coming back like 2 days later, like reeing up, like getting more drugs, like, and Rich like, what the fuck is he doing? Like, the fuck? And he like told him what he was doing, what his gimmick was. Richard and LA took that shit down the hill. That's where all the real money started getting made. How all of, like, that's where all the money really started originating from. That gimmick on that coat. Cause niggas was blowing up on that shit.
Buying cars, Like they was changing cars like they changed sneakers, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Nigga had like 40-something joints, man. It was real, man. I might have had like 40-something joints throughout the hustling game. Rich might have had like 40-something joints. Poe might have had like 40-something joints. You know, niggas was getting it, man.
I mean, crazy to say now, but then them niggas was setting trends. And they wasn't nothing but 16 years old. BMs and Saabs and shit with the interior, lambskin interior saying the BMW 528E, Saab. You know, that shit, all that, that's when I saw shit was getting real. Right there.
AZ made a lot of paper, man. The most money I could really say I made, I was making like, I was getting joints for a dirt price, man. I don't think nobody on the street can compete with the prices I was getting. But, and I ain't even gonna say the numbers, you know? But I was making at least about, I could make at least about $40,000, $50,000 a week profit, you know what I mean? And that's not even hard, going hard. If a nigga went hard, it'd been crazy in that, but I was the type that laid back and even play like that. I mean, I let everybody eat, you know? I could have played hard, but you know, I spread the love.
Highlight moments, basketball, you know, they might be shooting jump shots for a G, you know what I'm saying to you? That was like funny, hey, he might have 150,000 in the trunk, they gambling. I know the guys shooting cheats on him, but they didn't know it, he didn't mind, you know what I'm saying? So he might lose 10,000, 20,000, but it was no thing, you know what I'm saying to you? He was that type of guy, he just liked to have fun, man. You know, and everybody around him wanted to have fun. He just had no problem showing love, man.
But you ready to go have fun now? You ain't really got time to talk, so you might have $1,000 in your pocket. You just take the $1,000, throw it up in the air, keep it moving, you know, showing love. Go down the block, get your joint, jump in it, blow past them, niggas hit them with the horn. Why, everybody loving you, whole hood loving you, everybody eating, man. You making sure that everybody eat, you know?
Everybody ate. 8th fed a lot of people up and down 7th, up and down 8th. Trust me, man.
That was the game back then. It's ugly now. It ain't the same like that. Thing is crazy right now. You might skip past the rucker in your joint. You know, I wasn't the type to stop, be around crowds. I keep it moving. It seemed like the zone that we had niggas in, when she went past the rucker, and you park your joint on 32nd, she used to be at, in the cut or whatever, you play the stupid, seemed like the whole fucking game used to come to you. You know what I mean? It was ugly.
I remember when I was younger, when these cats was getting money, I always wondered, were they nervous about being in the spotlight?
Me and Rich pull up in his Benz 16 valve, and we pull up our Willie's Burgers, and it seemed like the whole crowd that was out there was looking at us, like they was waiting for us, you know, to come. They was just staring at us, like we looked at each other and said, "Oh, you felt that?" I said, "Dick, pull off." He pull off slowly, you know what I mean? We pull off. He's like, "Yo, dog, man. It's crazy, you felt that?" I said, "Did I see him going in?" He said, "Me too." But the next day, we kept talking about that shit. Like, "Yo, dog, we gotta chill. This shit is crazy, man. This shit is crazy."
Man, everybody's out. All the thugs, all the homie jacks, all the wolves is out to get these niggas. You understand what I'm saying? Because they young and they getting it.
August 20th, 1987. That was the day I got shot. It didn't have to go down like that, you know what I mean? Being honest. You know, stick up, robbery. And shot like 5 people. You know? I lived through it when I got shot in the head twice, you know? Got shot here, got shot here, got shot in the neck, the shoulder, hand, shot all up in the leg, and shot 3 times in the leg. My leg was broken in like 3 different spots. Lost my sense of smell. I can't smell to this day from them gunshot wounds. But lucky, you know, to God, you know, praise God, that I'm still here able to talk to you right now about it.
This is the 10 o'clock news. Welcome back. The streets of the Bronx are a lot safer tonight.
That's right, Rosanna, because two vicious killers are in jail for life. You're about to see the judge throw the book at them, but not before they made one last defiant stand.
It was a humid August night outside along the Grand Concourse as the three killers silently crept up 3 flights of stairs, then down this hallway to this corner apartment. Once they pushed their way inside, they rounded up 6 friends, one of them a 13-year-old girl. They shoved them back into a rear bedroom, made them lie on the floor, and then pumped 25 shots into the backs of their heads and bodies.
It was a crazy night, man. And to live through it and to still be sane, to me, it's like, I gotta praise God, man. You know, every step I take through life from this point on, because I know it was him that was there with me. It's crazy to see someone put the gun on your forehead and you watch them pull the trigger. I embrace myself to take a bullet, not a punch, but to take a bullet. That embrace was so deep that God, like, I didn't even feel a gunshot when I left. But the body must have stayed there and they must have kept shooting the body up. But I was gone already, bro. You know what I mean? I was in the light. And it was up to me if I wanted to live or not. And I asked God to let me live. And here's the results. I'm here right now, you know what I mean? But it was a crazy night. It's a night that I don't really want to speak on.
All we worried about is the Yankees are going to stay in the Bronx. That's all we worry about. We're not concerned about human beings. And I hope you catch AIDS and die. You said your piece? I said my piece. Give me my time. I'm going to get out of here.
Odds are Henry Bolden and Ronald Timmons will never set foot on a city street again. The brazen killers were sentenced to 112 years to life for the execution-style murders of 3 and the shooting of 3 other Bronx people in 1987.
He sold crack, a chemical produced by the enemy. You didn't even produce the crack. Somebody produced it and brought it to you. If you got a little bit more money, you're snorting the powder, which you didn't produce. You mean to tell me the life of your brother, who's the glory of God, is not as valuable as a few pieces of crack cocaine? So you would kill a human being over that? You kill a human being over this? Over this? Put it down. Pour water on it. Put it in the earth. It grows nothing. Nothing. Gone. Nothing. If I lost it or threw it away, I can get it again. But if I sentence my brother to death, I can never bring him back from that condition, brother.
The days of organized crime are almost history in this country. So what now you have the classic organized crime. And now what you have is a lot of mini-mobs, as I call them, different ethnic groups who are coming in to take control from the classic organized crime families, if you will, because they're all in jail. You know why they're in jail? Because of the informants. You know why these young guys from the mini-mobs are going to be in jail? Informants. The world is full with them. The FBI, the DEA, your big state prosecutors, they have such resources to infiltrate these groups, it's just a matter of time. So what are you doing? So you're gonna party for a few years and hit state's prison for 10 or more? It doesn't pay.
If you're lucky enough,
yeah,
if you're lucky enough not to be taken out by a rival drug dealer.
Yeah, I mean, and then the gang violence is just getting worse. Worse, it's just surpassing what the mob did. So it's almost violence for the sake of violence. And then you get the government that if they perceive you as the enemy, they're going to get you, they're going to come after you, they're going to try you once, twice, 3 times until they got you. And they don't care how they do it, they're going to do you. They want you, they're going to do you. Minorities, not only Afro-Americans, but Hispanic Americans, who are involved somewhat in the drug trade, are receiving sentences in a lot of instances that is totally inappropriate and totally excessive. In states like New York that has the Rockefeller laws, I mean, you've got insane sentences that have been handed out there for not so serious crimes. The whole idea of punishment, of a sentence, has shifted from what it should be, which is in the case of rehabilitation and punishment, to strictly punishment. It's become a political thing. The far-right wings of certain political parties, in my opinion, use this for their campaigns. But what the effect of it is to take a lot of the youth of America that, yes, doing the wrong thing, okay, but paying too much of a price for it.
He gets taken down. You don't follow him into the system. You don't follow him into trying to make bail. You don't follow him into coming to his lawyer with a lot of money. You don't follow him into his family not eating, or his kids are back out in the street because he can't make bail, or he can't afford the attorney he needs.
Because eventually you're going to get into trouble. And then, before you do any of that, go see a lawyer and ask him, if you get caught, what am I facing? And he or she will tell you. If you're doing crack on the federal system, mandatory minimum, 5 years and up. Some offenses are 10 years and up. I mean, this is like crazy. A young kid could blow his 20s and 30s in jail for a first offense.
Well, basically, what happened was, on December 5th, 1989, Darnell left my mother's house, which is on 132nd, left home that morning to go to school. And all through the day and all during the day, my mother was led to believe he was at school. It wasn't until that afternoon where she came home, rather he didn't come home, and it started getting kind of late. She called me, I guess she called his friends, she called other people where she might have thought that he might have been, and no one had heard from him. Then, I don't know like exactly what time, at one point or another, somebody called stating that they had Darnell. At that time, my mother thought it was like a joke, like somebody calling, making prank call. I don't know for what reason, but I mean, when something like that is probably more so done, you don't automatically think like this is serious. This is like somebody calling saying they got your son. It's like some shit that you see in the movie. So first off, she thought that somebody probably was playing with her. And then like we all gathered up together in the house and started realizing that this was something that like really wasn't a joke. Like they kept calling and they kept trying to make contact to let us know that they had captured or taken Darnell. Then like through the course of that night, people were calling, I guess the people who had taken him, the kidnappers, because at this point we were believing that he was kidnapped, and this is what they were saying on the phone. They were contacting Richard, talking to Richard, saying that they wanted $500,000 ransom. In order for him to see his brother again, he would have to give them $500,000. So it was like a lot of going backwards and forwards on the phone, and I don't have no $500,000. At one point or another, they even lowered it to $350,000, and they were still on the phone negotiating and saying, you know, playing tapes. They had played a tape of my little brother. He was saying that somebody had them and they want Richard to pay some money to get him back. That was a tape recording of him. And at the time, I guess it was taking too long, and the day was going by, and things wasn't happening, I guess, as fast as they would have liked it to. I guess to show Richard that they weren't playing and that they were dead serious and that they had him for sure. They told him to go to McDonald's on 125th Street in Broadway, to go into the men's bathroom and look up underneath the sink, and there would be something there for him. Now at this time, I'm like, you know, I believe something is really going on. This is dead serious. And my thing was, for some reason, I felt like they probably was sending something of his back to us to let them know to let us know that they were serious. So at that time and at that point, I said, if it's a piece of, like, if it's a piece of my brother, I don't want to know. And they went, my cousin went, Peanut went, and a friend of Richard's. They went over to McDonald's, they came back, they said they didn't see anything. So the people called back and said, did you get it, or whatever. And they were so persistent with it, I was like, there's something there. So they told them to go back. They went back and they came to the house and they huddled with Richard and they were discussing something, and I didn't really know what it was at the time, so I was like, what happened? Like, I know they didn't send. And what they ended up telling me was that they had sent a copy of a tape and my little brother's finger with 2 of his rings. And on the tape, like, they brought the tape, they wouldn't bring it upstairs, I guess because I had already stated that if that was so, I didn't want to see it and I didn't want to know. But they brought the tape upstairs and they played the tape, and on the tape my little brother is he's crying. And he's like telling us that they cut his finger off. He's asking for us to help him. He asked for me. He asked for my brother. He was like, Richard, give them the money. They cut my finger off. They said if you don't give them the money, they're going to cut my hand off. So at this time, like, through the whole, from the beginning, there was no police contact. We hadn't contacted it. It was just like family who knew what was going on. Family and friends. So they telling us the whole time, don't contact the police. They'll know when the police will be contacted because they watching us. But when they sent his finger back, it scared me. And I'm like, this is serious. Like, this is something that we can't really, we don't know what to do. We never dealt with nothing like this. Even though they saying don't contact the cops, we have to tell somebody. We can't control this. This is like, at this point, it's out of our control. You know, they done sent his finger, they done sent 2 rings. It's out of our control. I said, let's tell the cops. I went to the precinct. Me and, I think I went by myself. I don't know, because they said that they was watching us. It scared me. So I, like, disguised myself. I dressed up as if I was like a little boy. And I left the house and I went to the precinct, and the people, you know what, and what's so really messed up is that in the beginning, when I thought that before they even sent the finger, when I thought that my little brother was kidnapped, I called, it was a family lawyer that we had, and I called him, and the first thing that he told me to do was to call the FBI. And I did, and the FBI told me to contact my local police department. I don't know whether they thought it was a game or whatever, but they told me to contact my local police department. And when I called them and it was explaining to them over the phone, they told me to come in. So I dressed up in a disguise and I went in, and I was basically explaining to, like, these officers what I had, the ordeal that we were going through. And I guess for them to believe that it was really true, like I wasn't just coming in there fabricating a story, they wanted to see the finger and the rings. So I called my house and I told my brother, who was really trying not to be really involved, not to say involved, but I don't know, as far as the police contact. I told him to send one of his friends with the contents that they had sent us. And the guy came and he brought it, and at that point, they believed that it was really a kidnapping going on, and he was taken and he was being held for ransom, and that these people that we were dealing with were serious. It's like, my whole thing with it now, I've grown so, it's been so long now, and I've grown so much with it, and I know so much now. It's like, everything that they did was like so fucked up. Excuse my language, but it was really messed up. They told my mother not to answer her phone until they had gotten someone in there to put a tap on our line. Now, right there, to me, that's like, okay, your child has been kidnapped, your 12-year-old baby. These people are telling you, the people who have them are calling constantly, trying to get what they obviously want. So you telling her not to answer her phone, and I believe once that happened and she didn't answer her phone, they knew, the people, even if they were blind, knew that something was going on, because if we have your son, why aren't you answering this phone? You want your son back. But we following what they telling us to do. We just following, like, thinking that this is the way that we could get him back and they could help us get him back or whatever. But basically, that's what happened. And like, that was December 5th. It moved out for like more days, and more family was coming in and more friends was coming in, and we were talking to people that we were like close to and thought, like, at that time, we thought that these were the people that we should talk to. And like December 10th came. It was still negotiations going on and backwards and forwards over the phone, and it's like, they might have thought because of the fancy cars that Richard drove, the jewelry, or whatever, that he might have really had that type of money to give. But in the end, we really found out who it was, and to me, they were niggas that's in the street that know just as motherfucking well that if you a drug dealer and you hustling or whatever you doing, you the man sitting next to the man sitting next to the man. Somebody is always sitting next to somebody else. I might have it, but I have to pay this person, and that person have to pay that person. And then I'm in the street, I'm dealing with losses constantly. This loss, that loss, the cops taking, the people taking, the family taking. And it's like, these people know the rules of this game that Richard was in. So to really think that it was just $500, $5,000 just laying around for him to touch and say, here, was like, come the fuck on. Okay, but obviously that's what they thought, and that's what it was. And like, the negotiation was going backwards and forwards, and like, Richard at times was like, he really felt like even if we would have given the money, that my little brother, we wasn't going to never see him again. Like, realistically, the real view of it was, it probably was somebody that we knew. And if it was somebody that we knew, Donnell knew them, and they're not going to give him back. So December 10th, they sent like the final call. Like they said, they sent a note. Some lady from my aunt's building brought a note down. They took it up to my aunt's house. She brought the note down stating that Donnell needed medical attention, and this is our last chance to get him back. And at this time, we were in my house reading the letter. My godmother lives upstairs, so we all go upstairs, like my uncle, my brothers, we upstairs, and we discussing, like, because the cops are now in our apartment. They've taken over the investigation. They listening in on phone calls. So we didn't want to speak in front of them. We like, if this is our last chance to get my little brother back, let's try to do this on our own, because looking at it, they fucked everything up. They gave us no chance to really get him back with the because after they said don't answer the phone, by the time they put the taps on, like 4 hours down the line, the people never really called again. Like, we were getting like hang-up calls and shit like that, but the contact ceased. December 10th, they made their final contact. They wrote a letter saying that my little brother needed medical attention and somebody should, for us to meet, go to this, they sent us to 100 and, like right there by Broadway where the finger and everything was, they sent us to a phone. Now I'm up there once again, the only thing I'm thinking about, and I feel, like I could say I feel bad in the way that my conscience was just saying, tell the cops, like, we upstairs made like this the last time. I'm like, Richard, we cannot do this by ourselves. And you saying that they're not going to give Donnell back, we got to let them know. So I took the letter downstairs and I showed it to the cops. It was like the movies. They hooked it up to where it was like a cab, but really it was the cops. But me and Richard was supposed to be in because Richard was going to get the phone call, and I'm like, I'm going with you. We went together, we stood there, no phone call, never happened. Later on, years down the line, basically that's how the ordeal went. And years down the line, I mean, all of that happened. Nobody never called, and since that day, nobody contacted us again. January 4th, history be known that the cops came to our door and asked for my mother, and I'm like, for what or whatever, and they was like, they were there to tell her that they found, now these are cops from the Bronx. The cops from Manhattan was the one that was over the case as far as my little brother was concerned. Cops from the Bronx came to my door saying that they needed to let my mother know that they had found her son's body. My mother go into shock, basically screaming and hollering and going on and on about Donnell. You know, not my baby, Donnell. And the cops are sitting there looking puzzled, like, Donnell, like, what is she talking about? And the cops, one of the cops asked, do you have a son named Richard?
Now, how long was this? How long?
This was like not even a month, not even a full month, because December 5th is when the kidnapping took place, December 5th of 1989. January 3rd, like that late night morning, going into the 4th, the cops came to our door saying that they had found the body of her son, and my mother thought that it was Donnell. And one of the cops explained to her, well, asked her, did she have a son named Richard? And she was like, Richard? She was like, yeah, we believe, they said that they believed it to be the body of her son Richard. And I'm like, totally fucked up, like, no, I just spoke to my brother, and it ain't my brother. And I went like, cause I was so trained at the time, since the cops were inside with us, to go to my aunt's house and beef him or page him, whatever. That's what I did. I like went, woke my aunt up like, I gotta be Richard. They talking about Richard is dead. And I know my brother's not dead. I just spoke to my brother. So I goes into her house, I beat him, and I'm sitting there and I'm waiting by the phone. I'm like, my brother's gonna call me back, cause he always call me back. I'm like, Daddy killed my brother. No, not Richard. So come to find out, like the next day, me and my father went down and we identified the body. And it was Richard because he had a license that said his name was Richard Thomas. So I'm like, somebody probably stole his wallet. Somebody probably robbed him, took his wallet, and that person got murdered and they think that it's Richard. So me and my father went down to the morgue, and it was, in fact, Richard. So now we had to deal with my little brother still hadn't had no contact, hadn't been seen or heard of from nothing. We still, like, Christmas came, he was like, oh, they're gonna give him back for Christmas. Christmas came and left, the New Year's came. It was just me, Richard, and my mother. We was like, oh, they gonna send him back for the New Year. The New Year came and left. Then January 4th, right after the New Year, they said Richard was dead. So now, okay, Richard's dead. We're planning his funeral and all, still hoping and praying that some type of way, through some means, the people who kidnapped Donnell would see now that Richard was dead, they couldn't get no money, that they would just send him home. Only for January 28th, early in the morning, my father calls me, like, you up? And I'm like, no. He was like, nobody called you? I'm like, no. He was like, no paper, you haven't seen no papers or nothing? And I'm like, no. Like, he was like, all right, he was at work. And I guess he might have seen the paper at work or heard something on the news at work, but he was like, he was on his way over there. Before he could get there, 2 officers came that was a part of the kidnapping investigation. They asked me who I was home with and where was my mother. My mother was in the room with her boyfriend, so they asked me to go get him. I brought him out and into the hallway. They told us that they think they found a body of a 12-year-old boy that might be my little brother. He had on the same, like the description that we gave him with the clothes and everything is with the little boy, a body that they found had on. They asked me, they told us when my mother boyfriend came out, they asked me that they think they found the body of a 12-year-old and would I be able to ride with them downtown to the morgue once again. So I go with them down to the morgue and the whole ride, like, I heard something on the radio saying, like, about a 12-year-old boy being found, and they switched it. like, I guess they didn't really want me to hear that because they didn't get into like the graphics of how he was found. They just said they think that this body that they found might be my little brother. The whole ride I'm praying and hoping that it's really not. Like, it's like, God forbid that somebody else's child, it could be. Just, to me, just don't let it be my little brother. So we get downtown to the morgue, and they show me a picture of my little brother. It was gone now. And in some instance, like, because we had them buried Richard by then, this was January 28th, we buried Richard January the 10th. And it's like, I thought that maybe I would never see or hear of anything of Donnell again. And when they found his body, it brought some, like, at that time, some peace to me, because I was just glad that my little brother wasn't just out there somewhere without us knowing where he was or whether he was dead or alive, or that's just something that would have always, like, lingered on us. So it brought some peace that, okay, now we know. And we can bury him. Like, he don't have to be out there like garbage, because the truth of the matter, whoever did it, at that time, we didn't know who, but they left him in like 14 garbage bags, not separate pieces, because like when people got ready to pay, a lot of people who really didn't want to ask me, but they were saying he was dismembered, in which he was not. They were saying, and I guess the association with the dismemberment made people think that he was in 14 separate garbage bags. What they did was put one bag on top of another, which made 14 garbage bags in one that they had put his body in. And like, through the investigation, we later found out that whoever it was who had taken him had very well preserved him, because he might have been in the freezers, what they was telling us, because his body was pretty well preserved.
So, to come to find out who was behind them.
Later on, like years, really when that happened to Richard at the time, like, the family felt like who we know now, it was Alpo. Like, even he like, it was times where I saw him after that happened to my brother, and he couldn't even look at me. I remember seeing him on 127th and 8th Avenue. He was with some of my brother's so-called friends. They were all out there on 127th and 8th Avenue, and he couldn't even look in my face. I didn't know whether it was because he felt bad for me, or now I know it probably was just his guilt. But at that time, my mother said from day one through the door, Alpo killed my son. We were saying that it was Alpo. Nobody believed us. Like, nah, that was Rich Man. Like, he wouldn't have fucking killed Rich. Word up. Like, people thought that I was bugging, you know, for even saying that Richard Man did him some bodily harm. Like, that bugging the fuck out. Our point was niggas was still fucking with him. I used to be like, y'all better leave that man alone or whatever. I'm telling y'all, whatever. Nobody believed that it was him. Now, in current society today, is a magazine has come out to where he admits to killing Richard.
Y'all want to ask you one question, Poe.
What's up?
It's kind of deep. If it's anything you regret through the whole time you was in the game, that if you could go back when you just started out being that Alpo, what would it be that you would change, man?
The murders. Definitely killing Rich. If I could change that, if I was able to go back to that one, definitely that one. And the rest of them. I mean, because like I said, my thing was get money and hit the holes, man. That's what I would do, man. But that murder thing, I never really felt comfortable with that, but I knew it had to get down. I knew I had to get down like that if I wanted to survive at that time. So if I had to change anything, definitely the murder.
Everybody believed it. Everybody believed it. Come to find out, my uncle, Johnny, my mother's brother, first blood, same mother, same father, had plannings and was in on the kidnap of my little brother.
And this award is given posthumously to our student who was tragically taken from us this year, William Donnell Porter, and accepting the award is his sister, Patricia Porter.
2 days after Donnell's funeral, a rainbow appeared over the block where he lived in Harlem. This was definitely a sign that he arrived in heaven.
I was like 11 years old. The nigga showed me $100 bill. I never saw a $100 bill until I met Donnell, B. On some real shit, B. He used to have his little pouch with money in it, you know. I used to be like, damn, you take us to McDonald's, he asks you, yo, whatever you want, man, get whatever you want. You can get 1,000 burgers, he ain't care. You know, if he had it, we all had it, B. That's how we grew up, B.
The cars, the jewelry, the furs. It's like when you really think about it and you get to the bottom line, if I could give all of that in and just ask for my brothers back, I would. But I can't, so that makes me have the mentality to know that none of that shit means nothing. And it's like for all the young girls that might be seeking that and wanting that to go get with the drug dealer and that's my boyfriend, that's my man, that's not it. Go for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Do what you gotta do for yourself. As a young black sister, get your education, set some goals, strive for them and go for them. Don't let no man block that, get in the way of that, or hold you back from that. You can have your drug dealer if that's your choice. You can have your man in the street if that's your choice. But do what you gotta do for self, and you'll be all right.
To whom it may concern, the game is over. One love.
No weapon formed against Jesus was the baddest man that ever walked on earth. Listen to the words of Christ. He said, I am he who opens the door that no man can shut. He said, I am he who closes the door that no man can open. That's a bad man. Wow. non-government.